Welcome back to Theater Talk on Welcome back to WTBU Radio, the beat of Boston University. Right now, we're so pleased to be joined by one of the co-directors of Stage Troupe's production of The Burials. Welcome, Aisha.
Woohoo! Hi, how are you?
We're good. How are you? How's Tech Week going? How was move-in?
So move-in was really exciting. It was kind of stressful, as all move-ins usually are.
Always.
But like the set went up, and then we had this like projector, because we'll get into that, because a lot of our show is relying on vlogs. But as soon as the projector went up, like Brian, our technical director, started playing like Lady Gaga music videos. I was like, yes, that's fun. This is here. We're excited.
This is what we need.
Exactly.
Yeah, makes sense.
So The Burials were written by Caitlin Parrish, who's I did some research on her, and she's like a television writer, and she writes for a lot of different mediums. She has a new show on CBS right now. Could you tell us what the show's about?
Sure. So essentially the show is about a girl named Sophie, and her dad, Ryan Martin, is a senator that is running for office. He's a Republican, and he's sort of pro-gun, etc. And what happens is that Ryan Martin's son, which is Sophie and Chloe's brother, he actually commits a school shooting, and he ends up shooting a lot of the students in the school and also himself. So it becomes this battle between Sophie, Ryan, and the public on their trying to maintain a public image, but also sort of trying to rebuild their family structure after Ben Martin sort of completely ruins it.
Right.
And so it's a very interesting show, because we watch Sophie progress into this sort of very conservative, like everything that my dad says, because I'm, a senator's daughter, to sort of becoming a girl with her own opinions, her own voice, etc.
So interesting. What has it been like working? And this is a very short process.
Right.
I think it's one of the shortest that we have here at BU Theater. What has it been like dealing with such like harsh topics such as gun violence and whatnot in schools? And like, how have you opened up the conversation about that with your cast?
So like essentially when I first read the script, I was like, wow, this is pretty dark stuff. And before we started, we always sort of talk about that. One of our actors was saying that we need to sort of put ourselves in a negative headspace before we start to perform, because it's true.
Right.
Because this show is very dark and deep. And it's about things that are currently happening in the public sphere that continue to happen. And we want this show to sort of serve as a conversation starter, like a dialogue, to understand that this type of stuff happens, but no one really does anything about it unless like change is actually initiated. And so a lot of our actors and Sean and I tend to sort of do reflections, and we sort of talk about the material that is being discussed in the show, but also how the actors feel, because, they need to put themselves in those like certain types of places before they start. And it's hard. Yeah. It's hard for us too. So.
I can only imagine. What do you want people to take away after they come see this play?
So there's a couple of things I want people to sort of take away. I want people to understand that gun violence isn't going to stop unless like change actually happens, and we're actually donating all our proceeds to Everytown for gun safety, which is really cool. And they're a huge conversation starter. They're like the main point. And the other thing is that we need to sort of understand that just us like watching newsreels, just us liking tweets, Facebook posts, like pray for, hashtag whatever, isn't going to do anything. It's time that our generation specifically stands up and starts the conversation, starts doing something about the gun violence that plagues our country so much.
That's awesome. Could you, what I love about Stage Troupe is that we do, I've produced many a show in Stage Troupe. We always do the charity show where we donate all the proceeds to a charity. And this year it is Everytown for Gun Safety. Could you tell us a little bit more about that organization and what they do, what they're currently doing right now?
Sure. So Everytown for Gun Safety is essentially an organization that donates money to candidates or people in office that are actually for gun reform. And what's really cool about it is that they didn't actually have a Massachusetts chapter until our show. And so
Wow.
Whoa.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's big.
And so essentially what was happening is that we had a representative reach out, and they were like, we're going to have someone come watch the show. And we're like, oh my God, like this is going to be great.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. And so our proceeds, we actually raised a lot of money with this show, because we had our TA event where we had people like auction off themselves. But then we also had, and then we had proceeds from the show. So that's going to help them kickstart their Massachusetts chapter. So I was like, yay, we did something.
Yes, you definitely did something. That's amazing.
Very exciting. Do you guys have any?
Well, okay, so since the subject matter is obviously difficult.
Sensitive.
How has it been like approaching as a director? How have you handled like what conversations have you had with like your cast members? I know you talked about like reflections and stuff. Like, could you go into more about what specifically you've kind of talked about, and how has it been directing something like this?
Sure. So essentially, Sean, who is my co-director, has actually done this show already.
Oh,
okay, cool.
Right. So he brought me on the team because he's like, I'd like a new, fresh perspective. Like, he doesn't want to do exactly what he did in high school.
Wow.
And I only did musicals. So
This is
Bye,
a little
Birdie.
different.
I was like, oops, okay, let's see how this goes. But we sort of talk about how when we are asking our actors to get into character, we say, how do you think your actor feels in this situation? How do you think your character would respond in these situations? And whenever actors do feel uncomfortable, we have to sit and sort of talk to them about why do they feel uncomfortable? Why is this situation, for instance, for Ryan, difficult to talk to his daughters? So we have to sort of get into depth. It's not just about acting at this point, singing, choreography, stuff like that. I think this show really tested my limits and was like, it's further than that. There requires a lot of emotional connection to your character and as well as to the audience as well.
Right.
And has it been hard for your cast to like come after like a day at BU and come like rehearse this thing, and then do they try and leave it in the rehearsal room, or do they?
Yeah, how do they snap back to reality?
Yeah.
It's actually interesting. Our cast is like amazing. Like they really pulled it together in a whole month, and I couldn't be more happier. But for some reason, they come into rehearsal and they do such a good job. And I know whenever they do feel uncomfortable, we talk about it, but they've been really good, sort of, switching in and out about, talking about these really deep topics, but then going straight back into doing what they need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
They're great. I love them.
It's a difficult thing to do.
Yeah.
Besides Everytown, have you like reached out to any other gun safety organizations or like done any more research with them?
So essentially, we were actually trying, before we started, we were like, we need a charity, obviously, to donate our proceeds to. So I was like looking out to see different types of charities and where we could put our money. And there was a lot of like political groups that were against gun reform, but I was like, the point of this show is to start conversation, and I feel like conversation can't happen unless it's on a political level. And so I was like, why don't we go a couple steps further and see if there's an organization that actually helps candidates that are like for gun reform. And so that's why I ended up choosing Everytown. I had like so many options, especially in Massachusetts, but I was like, I want our impact to be greater than just maybe a Massachusetts anti-gun like party or support group, for instance.
Right.
So that's
Makes
why
sense.
we ended up picking such a large charity that does some really good stuff. So, yeah.
So you said that your co-director had already directed the show. What drew you to this show? Like, what made you want to direct?
So again, I'm a first-time director for Stage Troupe, and I actually wanted to because I wanted to sort of push myself a little bit because I wanted to see like how I could handle shows like this where people aren't like singing and dancing.
Right.
And it ended up being like a really cool experience because Sean again didn't want to do the show exactly the way he wanted to do it, and so I was there to help him through the process of blocking, character development, stuff like that, just so we had a fresh take on it. But I think it's been really cool. I don't know. It's a very stressful process. I feel like obviously everyone knows that. But it's been so rewarding, and I think I would do it again.
Great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
But I need a break first.
Yeah.
Yes.
I directed last semester. I'm like, I need.
No one talked to me.
Yeah,
I'm done.
and it makes
A
sense too, because
vacation.
especially directing a show like this where it's so heavy.
Yeah.
You,
For sure.
you have to give yourself a break.
Can you mention a little bit about? You guys are doing something really cool with technology in the student theater and the projections. And can you talk about how that's enveloped into the show? Also, this is just a random question. Does the school shooting happen on stage? Or you also don't need to? I don't know if it's a surprise.
If it's a spoiler, don't spoil
no
it.
spoilers.
Okay. I don't want to spoil it.
Okay,
Okay,
talk
yeah,
about
no.
the technology then.
Yeah.
It is a very cool, interactive sort of show for the audience. So it's going to be.
I'm really excited.
It's really cool. I'm so excited.
I'm going Friday night.
Okay, I might go Thursday
Okay.
Yeah, come over
Yeah.
tonight.
because I have rehearsal on Friday and Saturday. No, I don't. I have rehearsal Friday, but I think I'll come Thursday. I'll be there.
Yeah, we'll be there. But yeah, I think it's really exciting. I tried to do projections in my show, and they're like, won't work. I'm like,
For
okay.
Big Fish.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was very different.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what else. And Tech Week, you think it's going to go well?
Yes.
Are they ready?
I think they're 100% ready. The question is, am I ready? No, I'm just kidding.
That is the question.
Right. We do have like a lot of vlogs in the show. So what's really cool about the show is that we actually, so Harrison, who is the actor playing Ben, he's never in the show. He's only in the show through vlogs. So he sort of vlogs.
Is Ben the son?
Ben is the son, the person who shoots at school, and he is like just showcased primarily through vlogs, and it's really cool actually because we have a lot of interactive stuff going on. We see sort of like comments and newsreels and stuff like that, and the projector was pretty hard for us to get. We were really stressed out that it wasn't going to happen, but our TD came through.
Brian.
Right. Shout out, Brian. So it's actually going to be really interesting to see how everything flows.
Right.
Because it's cool because I don't think Stage Troupe has done a charity show which involved projections. And I was like, where's our budget? We don't really have one. But we were still able to sort of pull it off. So I think it's going to be really cool, sort of different show for the audience.
Yeah, that's exciting.
I think it's really a really interesting concept with all the school shootings that are happening right now in our country. Like technology and social media is so like heavily involved in all of them.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great way, and I'm very excited to see this.
Yeah. It's a great way to tie in the subject to make it, because it is a
even
current,
more relevant.
right? Is a current subject, but to make it even more relevant to showcase what is actually behind so many of these events and what's making it so much worse.
Before we go on a lighter mood, we always like to ask every Theater Talk guest. I know the show hasn't happened yet, but you said you've done a lot of musicals in the past. Have there been any fun on stage mishaps and anything you've done, like you walked on stage and the set has fallen down, or like you walked on stage, or
I almost peed myself once. What's yours?
Do you have a fun story?
Okay, so this might not be really fun, but basically it was like 2 days before our opening night. This was like back in high school or whatever, and our lead got arrested.
That's fun.
What show?
We were doing Hairspray. I was on tech though.
Who are they playing?
They were method acting right then and there.
I think they were playing Mr. Pinky.
The Big Dollhouse.
That's crazy.
And like this was the first time after this I was like, I'm never doing tech again. Anyway, but it was just a lot.
Wow.
I respect techies.
How did they get out on bail and do the show?
So apparently, like, we're just there and I get a phone call because my friend's like, hey, did you hear that Spencer got arrested? I was like, wait, the Spencer in the show? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, who's his understudy? His understudy was some random kid that just like was like, I'm gonna try theater, and he just wasn't it, you know. So he was arrested for having marijuana in his car.
Wow.
I was like, great. That was really good timing. Like the timing couldn't have been more perfect.
But the show went on.
Show went on with our understudy. Was it
go.
good? No. But have we learned from this experience? Yes, we have.
Yes, we have.
Perfect. That's all we like. That's
Hairspray might not have been good, but the burials will be great.
Yeah.
Everyone,
fantastic.
Please go see your go see
Go
the
see your
burials.
burials.
You can get tickets at troupe-burials.eventbrite.com.
We will post the link
on our Facebook. We'll be sharing this on Facebook. We're also cut out this interview and share it, and we'll send it to your producing team so they can push this out. As well as you guys are having a Blaze fundraiser this Thursday. Yes, so everyone go to Blaze and show the little Stage Troupe coupon and then some of your food so you can get great pizza, and the money will go towards a great cause. Thank you so much for coming to the studio. Best of luck with Tech Week.
Yes, thank you.
Best of luck with the show. We will be there. I'm very excited to see this.
Yeah, awesome.
Here's a little Shrek the Musical. I should have played Hairspray. Okay, here's some Shrek, and then we'll be right back on Theater Talk. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.